Hey crafty people, welcome to a design team project for ASC Supplies on Etsy. This is all I have left. I used the whole front of the paper. I believe it's called Vintage Christmas, and I've been using a ton of Stamperia papers lately. And it's because they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, and this is what I created to share with you today. This is my last mason jar album. Chipboard album that I have. This is a beautiful Christmassy kind of bakish, like baking cakes and stuff. It's got stuff in it that's geared a little bit towards baking, but it could go either way. It's got vintage Santas. It's just got beautiful stuff. So be sure to check out the entire collection, because I did try to use a lot of the baking part of this collection. So this is obviously a cut apart. I cut out one of the little, well, I cut out a couple of the little holly berry leaves. And I actually had purchased this frame, and it came with this little stand, and it was Bow Bunny, and you were supposed to put it together and it was supposed to stand up, but I couldn't get it to work. So I was just like, well, I'll just use it for a frame on something else. And that's what I chose to use it on. And I think it looks so rustic. I love how it mixes well with the colors, and it looks very farmhouse, and mason jars are very farmhouse, and yeah. So I had this bow and this little guy in my stash. I did trim out the frame with the red and the layered trim, and I had the trim match the cake so well. And then these I picked up at Tuesday Morning the other day. And I did mix in a couple of different paper collections. Just some very basic, rustic papers. And the reason I did it was because I didn't want to use all my Stamperia papers on this particular project, because I wanted to use some for another project. So this is how I do my binding for the mason jar album, and I do have a tutorial. If you're interested, check my my tutorials playlist, and you will see how I did the binding for this. It's really simple, guys. So let's go inside. Now, whereas I did kind of gear this towards a recipe album, it definitely can be used for a mini album, as well as a combination recipe album. So you can go either way. All right, so our first, let me see if I get this in frame good. Our first page is a acetate pocket. So obviously you can see through that. I used some little blocks with letters that I had, and these are papers, and this is a cut apart from the collection. This opens up, and there's a vintage Santa, and he's on top of a little bag that pulls out a recipe card. So you could write a full recipe over here. You could put a photo of the item with the recipe, whatever you want to do. And then you've got a couple of pull-out tags on this side, and these open up. So I love that. And then this one has this little place where you could write a smaller recipe. There's a pull-out tag. There's this tag, and you could write a recipe there. And then, of course, you could do a photo or a recipe, and a photo or a recipe. So it just depends which direction you're going to go. I know my dog is going to start barking any minute, so if she does, I apologize. All right. So on this page, and I did, you know, do a decorative top at the top of the mason jars, as you can see. So this is where I said it had some papers that were geared towards food and cooking. So this opens up like this. I've got 2 recipe cards here, and there's room on the back. This is from a different collection that I added in. And then back here, I turn this into a pocket, another recipe card, and certainly this lined paper. You could write a recipe there. Now this is magnetized and opens like this. And then we've got a pocket with the recipe. You could put a photo here. You could put a photo here, or you could put another recipe there. This is another, these are like little bags, and so that opens like that, and then you've got this in the center. So I think it closes like this. There we go. All right. On our next page, you have two pull-out recipe cards on this side. It says bake. As you can see, I love these little blocks. This is a cut apart from the collection. And this opens these are not papers from the collection. That one might be, but this one's definitely not. And this one's not. That one's not. So those are some of the ones that I mixed in. That's magnetized as well. And then this opens this way. And we have a little tuck spot here. And you could write a little small recipe or a drink recipe on there. You could write a recipe here. And, you know, if you have recipes on 3x5s, you can just tape it or glue it right on top of this. And then you'd still get your border on the outside where you can see the pretty paper. So however you want to do it. Before I forget, this album is for sale, as are all my creations. All right, we have another acetate pocket down here, and this beautiful cut apart from the paper. And then this is also cut apart. Love the Christmas house. That opens, and recipes or photos. Uh-oh. There we go. And then we have recipe cards here. You could put photos behind, or you could put more recipes in there if you like. All right, this one says Mary, and it opens up like that. Photos or recipes. And then this opens this way. And then this opens like this. And you've got tags that won't come out. So you've got this one from the collection. And you can do a recipe on there, and then obviously a recipe there. And that folds in. And then this one folds out. And you've got the same on this side. You've got a pretty little tag with the sweet little girl. And then a recipe card. And then that closes like that. Then on this side, I love the little birds. Oh, so pretty. That opens up, and you got a mason jar tag. Then that opens up. You can write a nice long recipe there. You've got a tuck spot here with two recipe cards. And then this opens this way. You've got a mason jar. And then you've got a mason jar and a mason jar. And of course, lots of room for whatever you're doing. Okay, so here we have another acetate pocket, only this one is a dimensional pocket. It's probably a little more than 1/4 of an inch deep. And so I created a booklet. And this booklet's got that cute little girl and the recipe card that pulls out from the little bag in the front. And then it opens like this. And there is a recipe card tucked behind each one of these little pockets. So this paper, this paper are all from the collection. Here's another pull-out recipe card. I'm not going to pull it out. This is not from the collection. This is just from my stash. This is from the collection, and this is from the collection. You got more recipe cards there. And then that opens like that, and you've got another recipe card, and this is also from the collection. So that's a nice little booklet with lots of room for recipes and photos. And then on our last page, I loved this beautiful poinsettia, and I wanted to fussy cut it and turn it into a tuck spot. This was a little a little cutting board that I had in my stash, so I cut the cake and put the cake on top of it. And these are really simple back here. The book was getting a little bit thick, and so I wanted to create something simple on the last page, and certainly you could put photos or you could put more recipes in there. So there you go. That is my Stamperia recipe mini album. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go over the size on this one. Looks like the jar itself is 10.5, and then total we're looking at 7.5. So 10.5 by 7.5. And as I said, this is for sale. So you can message me. My email will be in the description box down below, as long as also with all the information you need for ASC Supplies, because I promise you, you won't find these Stamperia paper collections any more reasonably priced, with great, fast shipping and super customer service. Check them out. Have a happy scrappy day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.